This is that weather that makes you be like, I know why people drink Coke in the morning, okay? I feel like I need an electric jolt to my brain.
The next stop is for B gates. B as in Bravo.
You need it? ATL's got it. No matter your preference, we have something for you. A layover presents an opportunity.
Got back from having dinner. My arms hurt. I'm so tired, y'all. Turn on the lights. Part of the reason I'm out here is because we have survey work to do, and I am helping stuff surveys and everything, which is like not a hard job. It's just a super tedious job. And I'm just like, you can't see me. Oh, it's not a hard job. It's just a super tedious job. I'm like, my arms hurt now. I'm tired. I leave tomorrow though. I'm just out here for today and then the work day tomorrow, and that's gonna be it. All right, take a shower, get in my jams. Some people were asking me, now I gotta tell at this angle. Some people were asking me like about what my job is and just getting yourself into the environmental field and like choosing a path and all of that, and like your options and schooling and what I'm doing, which it feels cray because I'm pretty new in my career. And I'll touch on that also. But I'm like, should I do half tonight and then half of the topic in the morning also? Don't think I'm dirty. I have 2 beds. I always sit on like the other bed if I still have on my outside clothes. I sit on the first bed and then I sleep in the other bed. I don't ask for 2 bedrooms, but that's a perk of having one, okay? Hotel tour. This hotel is like, first of all, why is it so dark in here? Like, it's cute, but they got me feeling like, can we get some more light in this Jeep thing? Why hotels always just want to have a cajillion lamps, but like no actual light? Okay, I'm not sure if that one works. So fresh and so clean. Now I'm feeling Y'all see what's on my pajamas? I'm feeling foxy. No, I'm playing. Okay, but for real, I got this like perched up on here. I don't know if I like this position. Oh Lord. Okay. How's this lighting, guys? Welcome to the chatty portion. I think what I'm going to talk about first are the differences in the careers in like the environmental arena and like the confusion maybe surrounding some of them. And then I'm going to talk about being black in these spaces if you're black and you watch my content, which I feel like majority of my followers are black. Like, sister. How I got to where I am and advice that I would have for other people. So I have worked in the environmental sphere. Right now, I'm kind of like straddling the fence. I work in the environmental and the agricultural sphere, which like they overlap a lot, which kind of confuses people when they're thinking of one, jobs to apply to, and also what to major in college. So when I was coming out of high school, I just knew that I liked animals and that was all I knew. And so I was like, I'm gonna major in animal science, I don't care. But I knew I didn't want to be a veterinarian. The school that you choose and the major and minors that they have is of course gonna impact and influence your job search, but it doesn't have to necessarily 100% impact your job search. I went to Tuskegee University because I was like, I like animals. Tuskegee does black vets, even though I knew I didn't want to be a veterinarian, but whatever. Honestly, I didn't put that much thought into where I was going for undergrad. I just wanted to leave the town that I lived in and get a new experience and get out of my own way. About halfway through undergrad, I was like, am I really feeling lab work and like doing all this scientific work? Like, I don't necessarily want to sit in a lab all day. Like, that's not really my vibe. And so I was working during the summertime and I kept feeling like I couldn't really get any like science internships. So I was like, bro, what the heck? Like, I'm just working to work. And I went and I worked at this summer camp, and at the summer camp they had a naturalist position, and the naturalist like went and talked to the students about nature and the environment. And I was like, I could have did that job. Like, I know about science, I know about nature, I know about the environment. Like, why did I not see that that job was posted? And I'm kind of agitated because I would have had fun doing it, but I didn't realize that like that was a major or an option that I had. Then my junior year, I saw a job at the San Francisco Zoo, and it was actually a science educator. And this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. This is for me. I want to try to do this. So I started to do that, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was just a summer position, so it was kind of like, once it was done, it was done. And everybody knows how hard your junior year is. Junior and senior year were honestly like hard for me with the major that I had. And I was like, I'm not switching my major. Like, I've been through this already. I'm at the finish line. Like, there's no point in switching up now. But I knew that if I did go to grad school, I wanted to switch to a more, I would say, encompassing environmental major. So you could major literally in environmental science, which a lot of people do. You can major in environmental science, animal science, agribusiness, agricultural education. And when I got to the University of Georgia, which I went to for grad school, I realized that you can also do agricultural communication. Again, when I was looking at colleges for undergrad, I didn't know that that was an option. So during the summertime, I spent time just like literally doing different jobs, gaining as much experience as I could, because I really had like one foot in the door and out the door, not really sure what I wanted to do. So I worked for the National Park Service and I worked for the National Forest Service. I did like 4 months at the National Park Service and 6 months at the National Forest Service. And being black in the environmental science field in general is just a doozy. I'll be like putting some pictures of here and everything as I go along, but I'll never forget like when I worked for the Park Service, we worked at a place that didn't have Wi-Fi, and so we would frequently like just go through our photo albums and show people pictures and everything like that. And I remember this girl saying to me, like, if I saw a picture of you on Instagram, I wouldn't think that you'll be able to do this job. And I was like, I'm already the only black person here, so what do you mean by that? But she kind of meant it in a way that sometimes we don't understand that people can have like duality. On my Instagram, obviously I'm like dressed up and that's showing the best portions of my life, and they didn't realize that I could be out there and be like rugged and all that with them. Although at the time I kind of didn't really feel like I fit in because I didn't have like the hiking shoes and the Nalgene and all that. It's like I was borrowing or buying everything, and I was like, this ain't it. And so there I was the only black person, and so it was kind of like isolating in a different way, although I still had fun. I love that job so much. Like, again, I'm about to be posting some pictures up here. I love that job so much, and I value my time there and the people that I met there. But when I was done with that job, I was like, seasonal work is not for me, and this shit is hard. Like, it is laborious work. If you are in the environmental sciences and you are okay with not being in a lab but still doing like the technical work, I would say look for positions that are like a biological technician, a forestry technician, and things like that. It's hard work. You're going to be rewarded with seeing some beautiful, beautiful places and things like that, but that stuff is hard, y'all. Then I went and worked for the Forest Service because I was still like, what am I about to do? And I worked for the Forest Service, and that was kind of isolating in its own way because, again, it's like different demographics and dynamics. At the forest that I was working at, I was not the only woman. I was one of 2 women in the office, but I was the youngest woman. So while in Michigan, I kind of experienced the prejudice of like, if I saw you, I wouldn't think that you could do this job. In the forest that I worked at, I was there and they knew that I could do the job, but they were like, you're a woman. And so like that was in 2018, so it's not like, oh, back in the day or anything like that, but there was, I will say, a lot of sexism and just a lot of like offhand comments that you have to be prepared for when you work in this arena and when you work in this field, especially working with a lot of men, and be prepared to be talked over. Sometimes people think that you don't know what you're talking about based on how you look or your age or your gender. So just be prepared for that. And while I was there, I was like, okay, I think I want to go to grad school. I only applied to 2 grad schools, the University of Michigan and the University of Georgia. I applied to science education type things at both because I knew that that was like the step or the direction that I wanted to go in the environmental arena. I wanted something that was like more well-rounded than animal science, and while animal science was super broad and you could do a lot with it, I kind of wanted to like shift my focus to a more communication-based aspect, and really positions where I could talk to people. So I applied to both schools. I got into both schools, but really grad school to me personally was all about funding. I was not going to go to grad school if they weren't going to pay for it. So University of Michigan was like, oh, we actually don't have any money for you. And I was like, actually won't be going there then. And the University of Georgia was like, we might have some, but we have to see, like, you have to wait. And in the meantime, like, while you're waiting, you can come visit and decide if you want to come here or what's what. So I was like, I gotta wait to see what I can do. And while I was waiting, my time at the Forest Service was up. My internship was over with. So I took my little Hyundai and I drove from Alabama to New Hampshire, where I worked for this organization called A Mountain Classroom. And this was purely like outdoor education, science education focused. I really wanted to like bulk up my science education and science communication background. So I took this job. Again, only black person there. If you are black and in the environmental sphere, it is like coming up now, but it's kind of crazy to think that even in 2018, I was like the only black person in certain spaces in 2018. And in 2019, it's like I was the only black person there, the only black teacher, the only black science educator. And while it was like isolating at some points, there was no better feeling than like seeing a young black kid and they see me and they're like, hey, I'm like, booyaka, booyaka. No, I'm playing. And so with that, while I was out there, I was really just torn between what I wanted to do. I was applying to a cajillion jobs, crying every day. I'm like, bruh, what do I want to do? I was saying bruh to that car honking too. I'm like, bruh, what do I want to do? And so while I was out there, I got news that I did get a research assistantship, which is basically a scholarship. They pay you to do work. They pay for your school, and then they pay you a wage. The wage is not a lot. The wage is not a lot. I think I might touch on that tomorrow because it's kind of late, but the wage is not a lot. And so for me, I really used the graduate coursework, one that was provided to me, and then two, like my free class options, to really like carve out what I envisioned for my future professional career. I say future because like I'm a baby careers person right now. But yeah, while I was there, I was like, okay, I need more work and information in ag education. I need communication in general, social media in general. Like, I really want to learn about these things. And that's kind of why I loved grad school. If you're like on the fence about grad school, it can feel kind of detrimental, like later on when you see your friends like buying houses and stuff. And I'm like, dang, why don't I have money? Like, what's going on? But it's because I spent 2 extra years in school, and like I really didn't have well-paying full-time jobs until maybe my job now, like high key, and when I lived in London. But I do advocate for grad school because it really gives you like that specialty and that special expertise that you need, or that you could use to level up if you don't necessarily have the specific experience in the career that you want to go into. But your girl tired. It's only 8:45, but I feel like a million midnight o'clock. Law and Order SVU is on the TV. It's my favorite. Oh, y'all can't even see. This is really my favorite show. Sorry, I know it's propaganda, but when I come to the hotel, I need this on the TV. Okay? I had one of those nights where it's like I was just waking up every couple of hours thinking that I'm gonna be late, like when you're dreaming about being late and stuff. Yeah, I had one of those days or nights. Then I took my umbrella out of my bag because it's not supposed to rain. Like, I literally checked the weather before I did that, and now guess what? It's raining. Okay. I'm getting ready for work now. My face is literally dry, even though I just wet it. I'm getting ready for work now, and I was like, didn't I say I was going to talk about like imposter syndrome and everything? I just want everyone to make sure that like the path they choose is what they truly want to do. I knew I wanted to get a master's degree. I like knew that after I graduated undergrad, kind of. Because I knew that I needed more experience in what I wanted to do, and I wasn't about to go and get another bachelor's degree. But when I was doing my master's degree, we did get paid for it, but it's really not a lot of money. Like, this ain't even a humble brag because it ain't like I make $1 kajillion. But what I would make one time a month on the last business day of the month in grad school, just my grad school check, is how much I make for one paycheck here. So you can imagine like the difference that could have on people's lives, especially people who don't necessarily have like a financial backup plan or like parents to fall back on or anything. And so it was crazy when I was in grad school and I saw people like buying houses and everything, and I was like, I'm in grad school, I had a second job, and I babysat on the side. And I'm not saying that you gotta be a workaholic, but I know that I like certain stuff, and to keep myself able to have that certain stuff and getting my lashes done and all that, I knew that grad school wasn't gonna be enough. There are still days when I feel like I'm behind compared to my peers because I didn't start out in a career right away. I didn't start out with well-paying jobs, but you just have to trust that you made the right decision for yourself and that you're happy with what you do. I'm happy with what I do. I'm happy with what I do. I be wishing I made a little bit more money, but I'm happy with what I do, so I don't stress it sometimes, mostly. I still have my up and down days. Like sometimes I'm like, bruh, I'm not gonna say it's not fair because I literally chose to do this, but I just be like, what if I would have just did business or something and just got my degree and been done, or got my degree, you know, and made money while I was in school getting my master's. It's really all about what you want to do. For people who are interested in the environmental field, I'm not going to say it's not a lucrative field, because it can be depending on what jobs you choose. So there's kind of like two, I'm not going to say just two. There are a couple of paths that you can go through within the environmental sphere. And of course, those paths are going to get you different results, different pay, etc. And they have different benefits. You could go the public service route and work for the government, or work for a nonprofit or an NGO. And while these jobs probably aren't going to pay you like bands, they're typically going to have a better or more balanced work life compared to if you went corporate with your job. If you work for a large nonprofit. If you work for a small nonprofit, I'm not going to lie, they going to work you out. If you work for the government, the good thing about it is most times there's a lot of job security, a lot of ways for you to move up within your job as well. Even job security, I feel like this is with every job though, even job security can be finicky though, because I worked at the Forest Service when Trump decided to shut down the government. And then I had to go work at a pizza place so I could pay my bills. But if you're like, I need more money, that ain't for me. All these companies now literally have like sustainability sectors, environmental sectors, all of that. So you could go work for like a corporation. You could go work for Google as like a sustainability specialist as an environmental engineer. All of those jobs, like pretty much every job that exists in the nonprofit or government sphere, you can do it on the flip side. Let's say you want to work for Tyson, or you want to work for Purdue or something as a biological technician instead of working for the government. You could do that also. So there is the ability to make more money. You just have to decide what is worth it for you, what aligns with your goals, and really what you just have going on at the moment. Like, what's gonna make you happy? Look at, I look like a glazed donut. Try to wipe some off my face. And yeah, that's Kid and Dad's career chat. I got into the room last night, so like obviously the key is somewhere in here, but I did not know where the freaking frack is. Oh, it's right here. Yo. OOTD. Shoes, Nike Metcons. Jacket from Zara. Shirt, H&M. Pants, American Eagle. Scarf, I don't know. But for real, push come to shove, if it starts raining or sprinkling, I am gonna put this around my little heady while I walk to worky.